Don't close your eyes, darling. They're coming for you. Watch out. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. You can't run, but you can't hide. You can't run, but you can't hide. You can't run, but you can't hide. You can't run. You can't run. They're coming for you. Watch out. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. Watch out. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. Watch out. They're coming for you.
Welcome into another edition of PirateCast, and just me here again this week. And if you've been paying attention over the last few weeks, and Ben mentioning what his job is, and you kind of tally that in with what we've been seeing a lot of in the news at the moment, you can understand why we haven't been completely aligned with schedules this past couple of weeks. So apologies, just me again this week, but we've got some good stuff to bring you. A couple of weeks ago, we brought you the very first edition of PirateCast back from 2012. And this week, we're going to be bringing you episode number 2 of PirateCast. So have a listen back. You can see as we're developing over time and the different ideas we have, we're a little bit more open with the behind the scenes stuff, which is quite interesting to listen to. And yeah, it's only one to listen to. So stick it on YouTube, have it on in the background, or listen to the audio version. And yeah, see what you think of episode 2. We didn't have our normal intro this week either. I decided to replace that with our little hype video for the end of the season Pirates journeys, the 3 finals that we're a part of. Obviously, we've 1 trophy down already, so that's BSN Champions with the Poole Pirates for 2024. And in fact, let me stick in a little bit of footage now that I picked up on Wednesday. If you couldn't make it down there, if you wanted a different angle of the celebrations, check this out. Some footage from Wednesday.
Tonight, who will take their place on the rostrum as the BSN Champions. Number 7 in the lineup. He's given us plenty of entertainment. Vinny Ford. Also joining in the presentation is Keith Brixey from Link Fabric here, making the presentations to the Poole Riders. Number 6, double donuts tonight for Tobias Johnson. Number 5, that tremendous Tom Brennan. Number 4, stood in as captain on Sunday, weighed in with that maximum, Zach Cook. Number 3, back in the saddle, no ill effects, and raring to go. He's ready for next week, Ben Cook. Number 2, back in the saddle as well, Sam Hagan. Number 1, the Rocket Man and in the team for 2025, Richard Lawson. And picking up his 29th award, Midlow, Neil Milovich. 2024 captain, Ben Cook. And the Poole Wessex Marine Pirates.
There we go. Great times down at Wimborne Road this past Wednesday as the Pirates lift the BSN trophy for 2024. Moving on, obviously, we've got a big couple of meetings for the Pirates. It's the grand final of the championship. And first of all, we've got Saturday at Oxford and obviously taking those guys on in the away leg at 7:30 up in Oxford. And then the return leg is going to be down at Wimborne Road on Wednesday. So once again, we have the second leg. So this is where the champions are going to lift the trophy and the big celebrations will be happening. Fingers crossed on 2 counts. Number one, let's hope that Poole managed to pull it off. Oxford are a very difficult team to beat, especially around Oxford. And as we've heard on the stats side of things a few times, Oxford are the only team to be able to turn over Poole on aggregate this year. So it could be a bit of a challenging match or couple of matches for the Pirates. And second of all, let's hope the weather plays ball. It doesn't look as though it's going to be that great next week in Poole. Oxford this weekend maybe a little bit sketchy. So fingers crossed we can get these meetings run and everyone stays safe. And by the time we get to 10 o'clock on Wednesday, we have some champions, and let's hope they're wearing blue and white. So we're going to bring in some more stuff for you. I mean, I'm going to see if I can get some footage on Wednesday, subject to obviously the match being on. Put together some bits and pieces of the Pirates and the team winning. Hopefully, this past week was a great celebration. I can only imagine it's going to be tenfold if we lift that league trophy. Thank you again, everybody, for the views that we're getting, the subscriptions we're getting, and all the interaction that you give us. It's absolutely fantastic, and it really does help us out. It's with the YouTube algorithm. You've heard of the mythic YouTube algorithm that increases the discoverability of certain things. The more you interact with our videos, the more we will get discovered by other people who like Speedway, not necessarily Poole fans, but people who will enjoy Speedway, and it'll be recommended to them and will increase the PirateCast family. So there we go. Thank you once again. Head on over to the piratecast.com for all of our links. If you want to follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I shouldn't call it Twitter, it's X, isn't it? But in the meantime, here is episode 2 of PirateCast way back in 2012. And you will hear, if you stay tuned into all the right at the end, I do have a pirate joke. I know you guys missed them. So stay tuned and check that out right at the very end. And we will see you guys next week. Hopefully the two of us, hopefully with some footage from this coming Wednesday and the Pirates lifting that league trophy. Stay tuned. We'll see you later.
The show you are about to listen to is for entertainment purposes only. Some of the content on this show may not be suitable for all ages, and listener discretion is strongly advised.
Welcome to PirateCast, the 100% unofficial Poole Pirates podcast. Yo ho ho! Hanging from the yard. And now, here are your hosts, Ben and Lee.
Welcome back to PirateCast, episode number 2.
Hello. We're here back for a second episode. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. We've been allowed back on the air after the first show. Technically, this is show 3. We should probably fill people in on what we're talking about then, because if at times it seemed a little bit rehearsed last week or the week before, whatever it was we did.
No, I don't think it did.
Yeah. No, there's no preparation whatsoever.
No.
The truth behind it is that we did have to record the show a second time because we did the whole show the first time and it didn't tape. But we're through those operating difficulties right now, which is very good.
And many thanks for everyone who said what a professional setup it sounded. So yeah, little did you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple of monkeys with microphones. That is basically.
What was that?
That wasn't even a sound effect. Yes, thank you. First of all, I think what we've got to say is how really amazingly pleased we are with.
Honoured.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely. Absolutely fantastic response from the very first edition of PirateCast, and we really just sort of threw it together. We were desperate to put the show on the air, and the original plan was to start it through the winter, and so we there was no pressure essentially. We could just sort of play it by ear and get really good at doing it by the time the 2013 season came around. But then we got to the playoffs of the league, and we'll get to that later. And we just thought we needed to get something going, so we did it last week, threw it all together, and absolutely phenomenal response from everyone who's listened. Some really great comments, and it's good to really good to hear, and hopefully today is going to be more of the same.
Yeah, great. Big thank you from me, guys. On the Poole forum, on Twitter, on Facebook, just so overwhelmed with all the messages of thanks, and we want more, and can you do this, and we'd like to hear that, and it's just the sort of reaction we wanted, and thank you very much. And all I can say is, please share it with anybody else you think would want to listen to it. There's been some sort of stalwarts from the start, from just before our first episode going forward. But it's just been. I don't think Lee and I expected it to be as prominent as it first was. And from the first 2 weeks, and people sort of saying to us, when you're recording the next one, it's very high honour, and for me, the feedback that we've got, I haven't had any critical feedback at all, and I was expecting quite a bit of it. So thank you very much, guys, for listening to the show and putting up with Lee and I droning on, and secondly, for all the great suggestions and ideas you've had that pretty much will take us quite a way into the close season. We've got some good discussion points to raise on the forthcoming weeks. Definitely, yeah. Lots of people saying, I'd really like to see this, I'd really like to hear that, and lots of, as Ben said, great discussion points on the way. Obviously, we're rapidly approaching the end of the 2012 season, so I think for now, probably the next show or two, we're going to be focusing heavily on what is happening at the track, what's happening with the team right now, because the winter months, as you all know, as Speedway fans, are very long and cold and quiet on the Speedway news front. So we're going to fill those winter months with lots of great discussion about the Pirates, about the history of Poole Speedway, about former riders. I know we've got some great interviews and things coming up in the future. We'll bring more news on those as we get it, basically on the Facebook page and the Twitter page. In regards to that, Facebook and Twitter, we should probably throw out all the addresses and everything, all the important stuff. Yeah. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can. It's at PirateCast on Twitter, facebook.com/PirateCast as well. You can also send your emails into studio@thepiratecast.com, and make sure you check out the website as well, thepiratecast.com. We've had since you last we put the first episode up, we've had a couple of changes to the website and some enhancements, and also do want to big shout out to someone who's helped us a great deal with the actual website and some enhancements. And can you tell I'm stalling because I haven't got the web page up? I want to say big thanks to Dan over at fixedpricewebs.com. If you want anything doing website wise, have a word with Dan over there, and he will hook you up, and there's a link on the very centre of our website there. So this week, what are we doing? Well, we decided to stay with a bit of structure, but as always, we probably will go off on wild tangents. So I think the thing for me and Lee is we want to aim for around 45 minutes each edition that we do. Yeah. But if it goes longer, it goes longer. You guys have the facility of pausing and adding a bookmark, etc., on your MP3 players and even your laptops, etc., and you can start from where you left off. So if we do go on, we go on, and we'll review it, and anything we don't think should be in, we'll cut out. But as it was last week, was completely unedited, and we put it back and published it as it was, wasn't it? Yeah, we didn't touch it at all, which is great, and I think that's the best way for it. Have it completely natural. So a couple of we're going to do it in sort of game of two halves. I think is the best way of saying it. First of all, obviously, the big news surrounding the Pirates was a lot of big news items, really. Obviously, the playoffs, we're going to be touching on them a little bit later on. I think the main
issue around surrounding the Pirates at the moment is the massive sort of injury crisis that we've had.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were without Dennis, we were without Piotr Pawlicki. And at that point we thought, at least we still got Chris and Darcy to get us through the playoffs and the Knockout Cup. And no, really bad incident with Darcy. Really disappointed, if I'm honest, with the reaction once the news came out on Saturday evening, or late Saturday evening into Sunday. We found out sort of 7 o'clock-ish Saturday evening what had happened. And quite frankly, some of the vitriol that was being bandied about was disgusting. And I must add, it was pretty much not from any sort of Poole or Swindon supporters. It was from non-fans of either club, and we didn't want to see that. I think both sides wanted to see both teams at full strength just go at each other. And I think that would have been one for the books, definitely. I mean, since we last went on, we talked about key man for them, Jason Doyle. I mentioned Jason Doyle. He was lost to them, unfortunately. A very nasty crash in the Premier League Riders Championship. Yeah.
We then lost, obviously, Darcy after the first leg, and I think we can make excuses all day. We can, but that injury is a bit of a worry. A concussion. I know that you've heard some reports as well on Darcy's condition, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what it's like around any speedway track. There's lots of discussion, lots of talk about various things, and you do hear rumours. And again, we're still waiting for a lot of things to be reported on as facts. And hopefully some of the things that were going around aren't true. That Darcy is more injured than is being let on. That it's more of a permanent condition and things like that. I really hope those sort of rumours don't turn out to be fact, because again, we're still waiting for confirmation on how Darcy is. I mean, obviously we hope he makes 100% full recovery. Obviously we're not going to see him before the end of this season, but the good thing is now he's got the winter to recuperate. Whether or not he's fit for the Australian Championship or anything like that remains to be seen, but he is okay. He's been cleared to fly. And all that sort of stuff. If Doctor was that much concerned, they wouldn't let him on an aircraft because of all the pressures involved.
I mean, there was a rumour about his inner ear, wasn't there? And the fact that could affect his balance going forward. But an inner ear isn't. I'd be highly doubtful that he'd be cleared to go long haul flight with a problem with his inner ear initially, with his balance, etc. It could really affect him with a pressurised environment. So we'll see. We'll keep pegged on that. But we'll go into potentially what our thoughts are. We might mention as we go through around 2013. I think we're going to save that until after the season is finished officially.
Yeah.
But potentially, are we going to see him here next season?
That's it. I mean, there's it's not long until, in the big scheme of things, until we've got the conference going on between the promoters and points limits are going to be set. There's these rumours going around of the squad system, which if they do that, might mean we can still fit Chris and Darcy in the team. There's talk of them, if that happens, possibly sharing a number one position in the team. Gives both of them still have them as Pirates. We still get to see each of them regularly, and the schedule on them is going to be a lot lighter and a lot easier. So especially with Darcy next year being in the Speedway Grand Prix, and Chris obviously is world champion. A lot more pressure on him to deliver again in the 2013 season, starting the season as champion.
A lot of talk and say so. I mean, people forget that the promoters do get together around late August, and they've already had sort of a pre-AGM meeting. So quite what was discussed there, but obviously people are getting or starting to sign riders. Coventry have announced Szczepaniak Jr.
Yes, I saw that.
And also Roynan and Summers doubling up again.
Yeah.
And I know that there's been rumours about Chris Harris going over to Swindon and possibly hands to either Peterborough or Coventry, although I think he did want to stay at Swindon if he can. So, I mean, it is silly season time, so take it with a pinch of salt. But, people are starting to actually sign riders in the Elite League, which is quite a positive sign, because it means that there's not much difference of opinion as it stands at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Because if promoters were 100% unaware of the rule changes, obviously they wouldn't even start initial discussions with riders. But there are some signings taking place. I know it was sort of teased last week about Matt making his first signing for the 2013 season. Obviously that has been delayed due to, I think that there's some kind of problem with paperwork. So it means Matt couldn't actually sign release that signing just yet. So we're still waiting on that. Obviously we'll be discussing that as soon as we do get that news. We've talked about Darcy, obviously Chris as well. A horrendous crash that he had, in the
Knockout Cup
semi-final, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely horrendous. Some of the pictures that we've seen of that crash, and as well some of the reports from trackside, essentially from some of the Pirates fans that were up there. People said, it's worst crash they've ever seen, and made them almost physically ill. Quite how bad Chris's injury was, but yeah, I mean, he's basically broken his leg, torn a load of ligaments, and also broken a rib at the same time. I'm not sure if he's actually had an operation on it yet. He
Not yet, no.
tweeted a picture earlier today, didn't he, with it all sort of swollen
He's
up.
got it in a brace that's about 3-4 times the size of his right hand knee. At Chris_Holder23, for those of you who didn't know already, on Twitter, and he's posted one saying, swollen much, and it does look really nasty. For me, to lose him in his first ride at Peterborough was a massive blow. I could not believe it. I was on my way back from Manchester that day on the train in the evening, so I was trying to follow when I had network coverage on live updates, and to lose him in that first ride, I just couldn't believe it. But for me, I think much props to Mads Corneliusson, because in those pictures it looked horrific. It looked like Holder's engine mount went straight over Mads' back, and the next thing I know, Mads is on Twitter at the end of the meeting saying, that was a really nasty one, I'm so sorry, Chris, for losing it and causing you to come off. But huge blow. I know he's not going to be happy about it, although he had said that he may not ride in the Australian Championship this year and just rest and recuperate. So he has got a lot of rest and recuperation time. I'm assuming his main sponsor's Monster will want to get him up and running as quickly as possible, so I don't think surgery is going to be an issue. And I think he'll be seeing the top people, very much like Crumpy did by the Red Bull guys.
That's about a year ago, wasn't it?
And obviously I would say that on the whole, Monster are probably involved with much more extreme sports and sponsor much more extreme sportsmen, motocrossers, rally cross, all sorts of extreme motorsports, and I imagine they've got some of the top guys in the industry to look after their guys. So fingers crossed it'll be a quick, because we have heard varying rumours that knee ligament damage can be quite a painful ongoing condition. So fingers crossed he does the right thing, gets it sorted as quickly as possible. But to lose our captain this close to the end of the season, well, I mean, in theory the season would have ended by now anyway if we hadn't had all the weather, but huge blow, absolutely huge blow.
And at this point, probably a good point to say, props to the rest of the Patchwork Pirates. I think as they've been termed on Twitter and Facebook, literally a lot of guys coming up and stepping up for the Pirates. Obviously, Rory Schlein has done a fantastic job. Obviously,
Niels Christian
Everson,
massive performance from him.
Huge,
and the lower lights, Ludwig Lindgren, absolutely phenomenal, and even Mr. Masters come into the game now. Actually showing what he's capable of doing, and both Peterborough and the away leg at Coventry on Friday. I know we're going to go into that in the second segment, but we want to talk about Sam Masters and kind of have a bit of discussion about what happened, what went wrong, but really flashes of brilliance for him towards the end of the season. Just seems to be at home.
I think. We watch him, week in, week out when he's obviously riding for the Pirates, and we've seen him sort of struggle with the track. I think. I mean, he's a great little rider, but I think he's a lot of riders do have these bogey tracks that they physically just can't get to grips with, and unfortunately, Poole signed Sam, and Poole seems to be one of the tracks he has an issue with.
I mean, the thing is, this is the guy who went toe to toe with Darcy in the playoff semis last year. He was on him and all over him for 4 laps. And they're having a great race, and we watched his scores at Somerset. I was disappointed not to get him last season, if I'm honest. Watching his scores at Somerset,
a couple of individual meetings that we had him for, and he looked absolutely epic.
And it was always rumoured that he was pool bound, and I think he's disappointed as any, because he's actually said he's absolutely loved his time as a Pirate. As disappointed as he has been, and I think the turning point potentially was when he lost his Somerset team place.
Confidence wise.
Admittedly, I don't know whether he admits he didn't react too greatly to that. It was a close run thing. I don't think it was an easy decision for them to make, by any way, shape or form, because the averages were only just slightly different, and he only had a mild dip in form. But I think that sort of not keeping that match fit race for a young lad, I think that's probably hit him quite a bit. And since he's been doing those meetings for Glasgow and for Scunthorpe, and I think Rye House or Berwick were the other ones, and he's been turfing in big points in the Premier League, and Friday night comes up, goes to Coventry, bit like he did at the start of the season, and absolutely show what he's made of.
Yeah.
Fair play. Well done, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. When it matters, he'll be the first to admit he had a very sort of patchy season, but excuse
right,
me.
That's
There we
right.
go. I'm choking. That's how shocked I am, and happy that Sam has found his form. Right when it matters, as I was saying at the end of the season. And Sam, of course, leads right back onto Ludwig, as you mentioned there. Again, similar sort of thing. He's shown some really... he's always tried. You can see him always trying on that bike every time he's, whether it's away or at home. And, some great performances from him when he is riding for the Pirates, and away from home especially, again at Coventry, really stepping up.
I mean, the thing with Ludwig is he's probably his own worst critic. He's been solid. I would say solid. He's not set the world alight, but he's been on the pace. He's tried hard, and he puts the effort in. And it just so happens that his worst meeting he has for us for the whole season is the second leg of the playoff final. And I know, I've read things that he was absolutely gutted to the point that he was in tears when they left the track. On Monday night. But at the end of the day, the guys did it. They put in as much effort as they could. Ludwig was very unlucky mechanically, much like Sam was on the Swindon leg, because I think Sam looked okay, and he probably should have had a couple more points than he actually got. And yes, it's disappointing that he didn't score, but his heart's on his sleeve. He's visibly upset and disappointed with himself, and I would like to see him back, because he's ridden well. He's come on leaps and bounds for Newcastle. He's come on leaps and bounds for us. And again, another rider I'd quite like to see back, if I'm honest. Yeah.
There's a lot of riders floating around there that have thrown in really good performances, and obviously we've only got possibly more than 17 places. We'll see what happened with the rules. We could end up with a few of these riders sort of on standby as part of a squad. Nice sort of opportunity, I think, to move over on to discussing the the grand final, the Elite League final. When it finally happened, we were when you last heard from us, we were planning to do a podcast immediately after the grand final. Obviously, with that being rained off twice and then finally happening on the third time, of course, that kept putting our show back, and we've only just had the chance to get together and really put a show together, but. What happened. There are all the excuses in the world and all the what ifs. At the end of the day, Swindon had problems too with injuries. But at the end of the day, I think towards the end of the season, as Chris admitted perfectly well as well, they were just the better team. They had the strength in depth. We were relying far too heavily on the upper tier of riders.
Unfortunately, we relied too heavily on two riders. I'm probably going to open myself up here on this edition. In Chris Harris, I was very disappointed as a guest. I'm not a Bomber fan at all. I'm really not. But I cheered my socks off for him, and do you know what? He did us proud. We would have liked him to go unbeaten, but the track was not conducive to racing on the Monday. It was very greasy. Should it have gone
Darcy
ahead?
Ward.
It's no Darcy Ward, but I don't even know if Darcy would have liked that track. It wasn't until they actually started trying to go around the outside that the outside really came to the forefront, and started coming to the riders, because they were just hugging the inside line because there just was no grip. But I think Chris and Midlow in particular, I think Chris won a lot of people over. There are a lot of people who I think showed him a bit of hate unnecessarily on social media sites, and just thought he was cocky and everything. I mean, I've always supported Chris 100% and always spoken up for Chris after seeing him week in and week out and interacting him at functions, like the dinner and dances and things, and speaking to him with the pits, and he'll always take photos with my kids and with myself and have a chat. He's the most sort of laid back, nice guy I've met, and had the privilege to sort of watch week in, week out. But he was just so humble, and I think he's extremely good role model personally, and just the way he spoke, and they were the better team. And I think three, maybe four of our riders at a push wanted it. You could see it, but we're sadly letting down that a couple, just heads down, didn't really want it, looked at the track, shut off before they even thought about it. Whereas all of the Swindon 1 to 7 were like, we can do this, let's hit them hard from the get-go on this track, and we'll get it.
Yeah, totally. Again, I mean, talking about Chris at the final there, I mean, I've got to do a shout out to Joe who emailed in to us during the last couple of weeks, straight after the final, essentially. He's a Swindon fan, but he listened to PirateCast and really enjoyed it, and had some really good words to say about Chris. And this is from the opposition, a fan of the opposition. He said, also want to say how much of a great man Chris Holder is. Even though you could see he was disappointed, he came over to the Swindon crowd and congratulated us and showed how much of a true gent the world champ is. So, and that's coming from someone who, it gets to playoff time and mortal enemies, essentially. Great to hear, good reports coming in from Chris. Again, like you said, just get some unfair criticism at times.
I have to say, the Swindon fans in particular, it's 45 years coming. I can't blame them for the celebration. We did get probably a handful of Poole supporters left once it had been decided, which was disappointing. But there are people who slated the Poole fans. There was a lot more of us there at the end this time round. The atmosphere was very different. Chris even high-fived as many fans as he could before he went back to the change rooms, including Swindon and Poole fans, to say thank you and appreciate the support. And the guys just matured so much this year, which we alluded to and mentioned last time out. But absolute, I think he'll be an excellent world champion, an excellent role model, and I just hope he's fit come March for New Zealand. Or April. Is it March? April? I think it's March, isn't it?
Last weekend of March. I know we're going to be missing out on Chris. Presumably, if he's a Pirate at that point, we're missing out the first couple of meetings of the new season if he is going to be in New Zealand. Going back to the playoffs themselves, it happened. We can't win it every year. That's not fair. So we have a year off. We get
every other at the moment. Every other at the moment seems to be the one.
Yeah, exactly. So 2013 is going to be our year. Now we want to talk a little bit about Midlow and Roscoe and how the contrast of styles with the managers. Two absolutely fantastic managers, obviously the top two teams in the league. So two great managers, very different styles. I think Roscoe, as you saw on some of the Sky meetings, really good at psyching the boys up. He does that sort of hands in the middle and 1, 2, 3 team sort of thing, which if that works for them, that works for them. Midlow, I know, is a lot more sort of speaking to the riders individually and takes them to one side, has a word, and you see it plenty of times. They're just starting up the bike, getting pushed away. Midlow with a big slap on the back and come on Darcy or whatever, and whoever it is. And that's the way he does it, and it obviously works. But it's good to see two really successful managers who don't just sit there and let things happen and make the decisions and let the riders get on with it, but are really sort of an involved part of the team. Roscoe, he's obviously done a number, and I think obviously they had to get together with the boys before Monday night, probably after the rain off on the Friday, because Hans said he's never been so pumped for a meeting before in his life, just before it started. And you could see it in the guys. Kilderman in particular just had a bit between his teeth, and he was awesome. He really was awesome. And you said he's the key rider for the Robins, and he was he was the one who won it for them. Hans had a solid meeting again on a dodgy track, and you could just tell they had the bit between the teeth. Simon Stead again, the wrong Simon Stead for Poole turned up. It's probably one of his best performances he's ever had there. I think so.
But the two different, Roscoe's very much heart on the sleeve. Midlow's a bit more restrained, particularly when the cameras are there. Midlow's still one of the only team managers I see with a stopwatch around his neck for the 2-minute time allowance as well. Which is very strange, because I know there's been, not so much this year, but I think last season there was quite an issue with that. But Midlow a lot more restrained, but spoke out. And again on social media, fair play. Midlow and Chris were the first ones to tweet well done to the Swindon Robins. I know you said it. I said it after Heat 12 during the meeting. I said, I think I said to you, by my calculations, unless we get 5-1 in every heat now, it's theirs. They've got it. So well done Swindon, well earned for 45, and that went down really well, Swindon fans. But like I say, we didn't get shown any hate by the Swindon fans. It's all like, fair play, you lot, thank you so much. I have a bit of banter with Mark Hedges on Facebook. He's a Swindon fan through and through, to the extent that he's got the Swindon bib as his profile picture. And just before the playoff final, I went through his page and tweeted our Pirate Pride picture. But I did it so many times because I did P, then I, then R, then A each time with the picture. Second word he told me was off, but he turned around to me and he goes,
race off.
Yeah, race off.
Okay.
Which is what I said would happen, and it didn't. I'm disappointed. But I think the call was Jason Doyle was a key rider for the Robins.
Yeah.
And then he went out injured, and then we mentioned about how important it was for our top three and Christoph to fire.
Yeah.
And he did okay in the away leg.
Yeah, he was good. He wasn't the
but in the
electric.
But in the home leg, there was apart from one race, he was.
Yeah.
He was on it, and obviously Christoph's now shown in the last two legs what he can do. Peterborough in particular, talk about stepping up to the plate.
Oh yeah,
the guy was absolutely awesome, and I believe there was rumours about a track record as well.
Okay, that'd be interesting to hear.
On Thursday night. I didn't do too much research on that, I'll be honest, because we've got quite a full-on schedule tonight. But yeah, Midlow and Roscoe, absolutely. I mean, I refer to Roscoe as Marmite. You either love him or you don't like him. I won't use the H word because Roscoe said, I don't like that word. I'm like, okay, no problem. So, but you are, people either like you or they don't like you.
It's a turn of phrase.
It is a turn of phrase.
Yeah.
But, fair play to him. And you could see, he didn't say it and he didn't allude to it. And he said, what he did with Coventry here in 2010 was amazing and it will stand out for him. But it's his home club. First time in 45 years they've done a league trophy, and won it. And they've come so close. And, even Gary Patchett, his first words on the mic was, it's all down to Alan.
Yeah.
And the way he's done it. And he's had full control over the team and the boys and doing it that way. So, fair play, Roscoe. You got us this time, but it's on loan for 12 months.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, 2013 season, obviously, we've got the whole winter to talk about that. And, talking about that, we will be. We've got the whole winter, as we say. And, lots of topics to discuss as we get sort of leaked riders and everything as they're announced one by one. Obviously, we're going to be looking at that and, kind of analysing all that through, for you guys. I think I just wanted to mention, my key man for Poole. That I said, I definitely did turn out to be a key man for Poole, but for the wrong reasons. I picked out Ricky Kling. As we said, has had some great rides, some again flashes of brilliance. A good turn of phrase from you earlier. Ricky Kling's had that. Unfortunately, at the end of the season, he's really just not seemed on the pace. He's really not seemed into it at all. And I know he's suffered from or been suffering from an illness or something towards the end of this season. So we've he stepped down from the team, and we've got to have replacements in. Everyone's effectively bumped up a place, and it seems to have worked out well for the team, which is good. So hopefully we got one more match left for this season, which is the home leg of the Knockout Cup final. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. Before we do that, shall we? There's another topic that you came up with. I think was it the away leg?
It was the away leg. It was the away leg, and I literally just text Lee the word puddingy. Talk about it's my favourite person in the world from the Sky Sports team. It's Mr. Tatum. To use the word puddingy to describe a track is a first for me.
What sort of pudding does Kelvin eat?
I don't know. Chocolate, diarrhea, dirt-like substance that's quite slimy and thick.
Gravel in it.
Yeah, gravel, a bit of methanol, and maybe some fumes, little smoky fumes coming off the top like a Halloween potion.
Yeah.
There you go, we're seasonal, what can I say? But yeah, I just had puddingy with 2 exclamation marks, and that's a new one on me, seriously. I do like the Sky Sports coverage. I know there's still not confirmation as to whether we're going to be able to watch Elite League Speedway. It's not been said we're not. I know there's still 1 year to run on the deal, but I have heard some of them are not going to be able to watch Speedway GP next year.
Yeah, I've heard that. I think it's the rumours are no Speedway GP next year, and the year following that is when the deal for Elite League expires. So currently we've only got 1 year left of Elite League Speedway, unless obviously we get some they step up and renew the deal, or possibly I can't imagine with its success, if Sky don't want it, it's not going to come on another channel.
I mean, I would say the GP figures are probably the best viewing figures for any of the Speedway programming. And again, Keith Ewing, not a big fan, always comparing it to road racing, loves his Golub when he's on form, but has come round to a lot of the younger guys this season. And for me, the lineup for next season is one of the best that I've seen.
It does look epic.
There's not, there's probably 1, maybe 2 you could deem as also rans, but I would say everybody has earned their place there this next season, and I think it's going to be a really, really close, hard fought I mean, bear in mind you're going to get young wild cards chucked in there, are going to be hungry for points as well, and I would be surprised if they didn't. However, I mean, I said to you, didn't I? I didn't realise till I went on the SGP website that they had started streaming them live from the SGP website.
Although I don't think we can get them in the UK because it's the same
Sky,
sort of thing.
It's the same thing as the Elite Riders Championship that wasn't
yeah.
screened on Sky, but because they have the rights to it, we're not allowed to watch it.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
So, but I mean,
Sky.
you know, again, if hopefully next year there'll be the option to stream it through the TV. And you know, the smart TVs that you can get now, you can stream stuff through the internet to those TVs. So you know, we'll get to see them one way or the other with the sort of technology that's involved these days. You know, just like PirateCast. You know.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be the first guys to let you know where you can watch it if we need to find somewhere to watch it on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, some good stuff. Obviously, the other thing which I think we'll be touching on, you know, further down the road, was just announced actually today on Sunday that the GP Challenge meeting is going to be at Poole.
Yeah.
In 2013, and that's obviously going to be. For the qualifiers for the 2014 series, so we're sort of shooting ahead 2 years now. But yeah, it's going to be great. It's been a while since we've had you know, event of that stature at Poole. Be great to see some, you know, do you remember when they had the Speedway World Cup and they had all that extra seating around
I'd imagine there'll be tiered stands on each corner to fit in extra capacity, because we do have the ability to do 5,000 minimum there, and I think that's the sort of event that will attract it, because the lineup will be quality. You know, this year's went right down to the nail again for the qualifiers, and by all accounts, the one in the Czech Republic was a fantastic meeting to watch, and all the guys were hungry for it. For me, the only bonus is we've got to I think it's August 24th. We've got plenty of time for track work.
Yeah,
which is much needed. And I know there's been a lot of comments about us talking about the track. We've not managed to get hold of anybody officially, but you know, I'm hearing rumours that the actual official track curator has been relieved of duty.
Also, those rumours were around on when was it? Was it last Wednesday? It was last Wednesday.
Yeah.
God, we're changing days all the time with the rain-offs. It's throwing me. But yeah, lots of things. So the current track curator not now in charge of the track, but it's sort of filtered down to the team that were below him that are now in charge of it.
Yeah.
You know, not a bad job on Wednesday considering a lot of the rain we had. Did look quite slick to begin with, but sort of tore up as the evening went on, and yeah, it's quite a good track. But again, we've got the whole winter to discuss that, as they've got the whole winter to fix the, you know, obviously ongoing issues with the track.
One rut that needs fixing.
Yeah, and there's another one on the third bend as well, which throws people right into the fence.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll get to that in time. Lots of stuff coming up in the second half of PirateCast. We're going to be talking about the final. Obviously, we've had the first leg now. It's tomorrow night, Monday night is going to be the second leg. Hopefully, weather permitting, we will have the second leg tomorrow at Poole. We've got Rory Schlein back for the Pirates. We've also got Niels Christian Everson in, and you know, some changes at reserve as well.
Morten Rosea guesting for Ricky Kling as well.
Exactly. So again, the Patchwork Pirates in action. Hopefully, we can get some silverware this year. We're going to be talking about that when we come back from this commercial break. More PirateCast coming up right after this break.
Yo, ho, the pirates like for me. We build, we plunder, we rifle and loot, bring up behind you, ho. We sting up the dragons and don't give up.
Hi, my name's William Shatner. You probably remember me as Captain Kirk from Star Trek, but these days I'm involved in a totally different kind of enterprise. That's right, I've got my own company which designs and manufactures underpants for men, boxers, Y-fronts, tanga trunks, and even posing pouches. We understand the importance of underwear, and we make underwear that understands what it's like to be a man. So if you've never truly unleashed your masculinity, you're in need of Shatner Pants, because you ain't a real man until you're in Shatner Pants.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American Heroes.
Today, we salute you, Mr. Pro Wrestling Wardrobe Designer.
Mr. Pro Wrestling Wardrobe Designer.
While lesser designers would shy away from putting 300-pound men in spandex, you embrace it.
Yes, you do.
Pushing fashion to its limits, literally, you pair tights with a cape, a leotard with a mask, leather boots with a thong.
Oh, looking good.
All understated ways of saying, I'm going to rip your head off and look fabulous doing it. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Pro Wrestling Wardrobe Guy, because without you, a man crushing another man's head in his arms, would just look silly.
Mr. Pro Wrestling Wardrobe Design.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome back to PirateCast, episode number 2, and lots of great stuff coming up, everyone. If you're listening to this before Monday evening, which I hope a lot of you do, hopefully we're going to have this up at least before midnight on Sunday. It's hopefully this will hype you up for the second leg of the final at Poole Stadium, and hopefully it happens.
Yeah,
at this rate.
I'm getting fed up of paying my £1.50s at the car park for no reason whatsoever. It's an expensive parking ticket.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. It's you get the refund on the ticket on the night, but you don't get the parking refund.
No, damn Poole Stadium.
We've got a little topic title here. What can the Pirates learn from the league playoff final that they can take into the Knockout Cup? I mean, I know we sort of put that, or you essentially put the that topic title before we had the first leg. Yeah. But I think really the Pirates definitely have learned from the grand final. A lot of people were worried they were going to have their heads down and not be focused. Since they lost the playoffs for the league, but. Obviously they went up to Coventry and showed what they're worth, and we actually went away and got a lead coming into the home leg. Yeah. So you can't. It doesn't get any better than that, really. No,
it doesn't. As gutting as it was for Chris to go out in his first ride at Peterborough, that seemed to be quite a catalyst. It was a catalyst for the rest of the team. It really was. It sort of G'd him up, and it's like, oh god. So there goes Darcy, there goes Chris. We can't just rely on KK and Everson to pull us out of the bag. We've all got to muck in and put our heads down and go for it. And I think we've had a bit of luck on our side, a couple of engine failures and stuff, but God, we've had enough bad luck. It's about time we had the good luck come to us. So fair play. Line up for Monday. There was apparently an invite for Hans to come in, and he took that. But I know that Matt's gone back to Rory Schlein because of what such a good job he did for us on Friday. He's earned his place. He has, and he's another rider that wears his heart on his sleeve a lot. Yeah. Everson, very clinical. Absolutely phenomenal at Coventry, 15-point max.
Yeah, untouchable.
And people like Liver Lindgren, Sam Masters, Carl Howarth. I think it's ours. I'd be very surprised if we threw that lead away, particularly with the man-on-man option. They really do need to rename that.
Yeah,
man-on-man race.
Match race, I think is
match race
would
be good. Way. Yes, yeah.
I could say some of the interesting conversations we were having about the man-on-man thing on on Wednesday, but I won't go there. Some interesting comments were had in our particular area of seating. The other exciting thing about Wednesday, which you missed, Ben, because you're up in Manchester, was Rene Back at reserve.
Yes,
and he had quite an eventful night and went through the tapes, which meant all four back. The word back was used quite a lot.
Okay, so Rene Back was back.
Yeah, and then he fell off, and so he had to go back to the pits. And, he had damaged his back wheel, and it was amazing. I think we were quite possibly the only sort of 4 or 5 people in the whole stadium that found it amusing. But
funnily enough.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, back to the playoff final. Yeah, back to the playoff final. Sorry, I didn't even try to do that one. But when you look at the team, Rory Schlein, Niels Christian Everson, and these are the stand-ins.
Yep.
It's absolutely amazing that the quality of team we've got out there. So we've got Rory guesting for Darcy Ward, Niels in for Chris Holder, Christoph Kasperzak is obviously going to be still riding for the Pirates, rider replacement for Piotr Pawlicki. Morten Rizea in for Ricky Kling. Ricky Kling at the moment, as we said, does have an illness of some sort, so he's not going to be in for this last couple of matches. Ludwig Lindgren hoping he sees out the season in style, and Kyle Howarth, of course, really great opportunity and a great stage for him to prove himself on the Wimborne Road circuit. in front of what we hope to be is going to be a massive crowd to see the Pirates, pull it off this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the crowds come out. I can understand why people think, well, it's not even a Pirates team, but after the effort they put in on Friday, all of these riders need to be welcomed back with open arms to Wimborne Road on Monday. They've done an absolutely cracking job under the circumstances. To come away with that result from Coventry was unbelievable. We still haven't had people like Michael Szczepaniak. We haven't seen what he can do around Wimborne Road because of the grip off that we had. Kenny Larson, another key rider, has been suffering from quite a few mechanical problems this season. But he should have been on quite a high average. I rate Kenny Larson. I was gutted when we lost out on him, because I know it was between us and Coventry. Yeah. Eddie Kennett, I know that he's been awarded highest bonus point scorer for the team this year. He's normally following his teammate, although by all accounts that's been in third place a lot of the time. Sorry, had to get that in. And Chris Harris, he likes our track if the conditions are right, and even when they're not, and they weren't right on the playoff final, it was slick and greasy. He still showed what he can do, and he looked quick. But I have heard vicious rumours that he didn't show up Saturday to something that he was meant to show up to.
Oh, okay.
And there is a vicious rumour going around that he might not even come on Monday, so I don't know what's going on there. Vicious rumour, like I say, not confirmed. He may very well turn up. He is professional, and he does fulfil his bookings, etc. But the one for me will be Scott Nicholls for Coventry. Scott's had, I would say, probably one of his best seasons in the last few.
Yeah.
Last time he was at Wimborne Road, properly on the pace, looked quick, still hungry, and he's still got a lot to give, whichever team he rides for. So I think that'll be an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see how Blaine Scroggins can get the boys fired up. Probably one of the best team manager names out there. However,
it's a NASCAR driver name.
It is a NASCAR driver name, yeah. A bit like Brent Spunkmeyer or Tyson Burgermeister. But I have heard that maybe his tactical knowledge isn't great. There's a lot of things on some of the forums. A lot of Coventry fans disheartened with some of his tactical decisions. Doesn't seem to be able to relate to the riders and get them fired up. So maybe that's not helped them. And to be hit that hard so early on Friday, I think their heads will be down. So we just got to take it from the go.
Yeah.
And riders like Rory, Niels, Christoph can do that. We just need the other boys. Morten Rosé has guested for the Pirates a few times, not this season but last season, and done well. He's done okay. 3-4 points. That's all we need.
Yeah, exactly.
From each of those riders.
Yeah. We've got 14 points.
Yeah.
So even if we fall 10 points back and they get to this man-on-man match race, and win that, it's still we're still sort of right down to even Stevens pretty much, or still 1 point ahead. So I don't want to sound overconfident and say it's ours for the taking, but essentially it is. It's we've won away traditionally. We should have lost away and then see if we can get it back at home. But going away to Coventry, winning that match with riders of that calibre on the Coventry team is a really big ask. We've done really well to do that. So it's going to be a hell of a night at Poole.
Yeah.
And obviously the last chance you're going to get to see the Pirates in 2012.
Yeah, last home meeting. Not entirely sure about an end of season bash yet. There's lots of rumours going around. I think something may happen in the Champs Bar. Also, really good news is the way Kyle's come back from his injury. He really wants to do well. I know he didn't do too well for us from at Swindon, and I personally was a bit disappointed that he wasn't at the home leg. I know he couldn't be at the home leg for the playoff final, but Eckloff took a little bit too long to get into the swing of things. But thanks to the webmaster at PoolePirates.co, the official website, it has been mentioned that the ref are going to present Kyle with a cheque for £500 from the Riders Equipment Fund.
Yeah.
So that's really good news, and I like the way the refs support. They have made presentations to Chris and Darcy this year, but they do tend to go for the second strings and the lower order riders. So yeah, really, really pleased with that.
Absolutely. Should be an absolutely great night. So yeah, again, if you're listening to this Monday, we're going to be down on the track. We're going to be up in the just next to where all the media are. That's next to the refs box in the what is, I suppose, quote unquote, the season ticket holders area.
Yes. Yeah.
So
next to what used to be the sponsors box.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, come and see us there. Now, I'm just drastically here trying to find out the information about the what's going to be happening at Poole Stadium. Where is it there?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, sorry, big graphic. We should really mention this, and this is obviously courtesy of poolepirates.co, the official Poole Speedway website. Get all your official news there. We're not, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Obviously, a lot of our stuff there is information from the official Poole Speedway website.
Yeah.
We're just trying to obviously increase the grab of that. But yeah, these guys are right there on the ball with all of the information. So we want to throw out a plug there for the Ref Winter Quiz Nights.
Yep.
And again, you've got PirateCast through the winter. You've also got these little get-togethers they do during the winter period. So quiz nights.
Yeah,
everyone likes a quiz night.
Love a quiz night, particularly in the winter months. Nothing like quizzing a beer. But yeah, once a month. I know people would like more, but if you do it any more and more than once a month, you're not going to get the attendance that you need. And it's open to non-members as well. You don't have to be a member of the Riders Equipment Fund. You have to pay £1 more if you're not. But it's money well spent. It all goes in to money for your team and the riders, and providing them with much needed equipment if they've had an accident or a crash or blown an engine. And it's a fantastic club to be a part of.
Yeah, completely. So let's run through some of these, some of the dates. Wednesday, 5th of December, there will be a general knowledge quiz.
Yep.
Wednesday, the 9th of January, TV and film. I know we're particularly interested.
All over that one. Yeah, definitely.
I think we should have a PirateCast team for that.
Yeah, I think we will have to do a PirateCast team. We might get Fairweather Glory Hunter, Pirates fan Gary Card maybe involved in that.
Yeah, special shout out to Gary Card.
Shout out to Gary Card. He came to 3 rain-offs and then couldn't make the final home leg despite his best effort. So it was a bit of a contentious point, because one of the last times he came to a meeting was when we lost the playoff final to Coventry. But his jinx is now lifted. So Gary's allowed back and embraced with open arms.
What do we call him? Speedway Dementor,
Speedway Dementor. He sucks the riding ability out of riders, normally our own, which is disappointing. But he has had the effect on other riders this season and caused quite some spectacular crashes. So yes, Gary Card could be in attendance, so make a note.
Exactly. And speaking of Speedway, Wednesday 6th of February, the topic is going to be Speedway for the quiz night. So if you know your Speedway history, get down there on the 6th of February and test your knowledge.
Yeah, Nigel Leahy, the Centre Green announcer, is normally the compere for these events and the question master. So Nige, if you are listening to this edition, TV and film, please have some modern stuff. Special request.
Yeah, we're old, but we're not that old.
And speaking of Nigel, I can't thank him enough. He promoted our particular little project of PirateCast on Monday night at the playoff final with a packed stadium, and then he dragged me onto Centre Green for an interview as well.
Awesome
so thank you very much, Nigel, and thank you so much for your support you've given us so far. And I know that he's eager to watch this grow and progress and assist it in any way he can. So big thank you. We are unofficial, but to have somebody like Nigel there who knows the riders and can help us that way, then fingers crossed. Not putting any pressure on you, Nigel, but I know he's going to help us with interviews and things like that. So yeah, thank you.
Exactly, brilliant. Yeah, so great to have some, like you say, some official promotion there from the actual pool setup, essentially. Now, I think we're rapidly coming up to sort of like 50 odd minutes on this show.
Really?
So we are already. So what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to finish out the show just by we started off saying thank you to some of you guys. We are going to finish off the show talking to throwing out some of the names of some of the people who have really been behind us since we started off. So yeah, Ben, you got this list together. So I'm going to leave this one to
Thanks,
you.
mate. Yeah, cheers. So big shout out at Leah Jacko, at Gixer, at Pink Tuck, at Sue Chen, at Evo8773, who's a Swindon fan, thank you very much, at Hammerfan1966, at Mandy Duddington, yes, she is a relation, she loves me, at Paul T1963, at Jay Tresidern, he suggested some really good talking points for us to go into the close season with, at KTG309, at Bex147, at John Smallwood, who's also Dursley Pirate on the Poole Forum, and thank you so much for your feedback, John. That was amazing. At Saint Robinho 86, so Rob and Saint Rob on the Poole Forum. At Keith Peckover, at James in it, and thank you for promoting to the non-Poole Speedway fans. And I think that's one of the things that jumps out for me is the amount of non-Poole fans who've been coming up and saying great work, guys.
Yeah.
And I've had a Lakeside person get in touch with me as well on Twitter asking what it will take for us to promote Lakeside Live.
What's Lakeside Live?
Lakeside Live initially is a Twitter feed.
We're all one for sort of promoting additional.
Lakeside Live
projects.
is a Twitter feed at the moment.
Yeah.
But I know that he's very eager in getting a decent website up and running. And he's asked for a bit of help and support with that. But he said, "What have I got to do for you to plug Lakeside Live on your podcast next season?" So I told him he had to sell his soul.
Yeah.
But once it's up and running, then we will happily mention and plug it. And fingers crossed, you can get somebody on board who can do this sort of project.
Yeah,
for you.
Totally. That's what we want is a podcast for every Elite League Speedway team. That's our goal.
Yeah.
To, get this sort of interaction going with every Elite League team. So that'd be awesome.
And I'm not being funny. If we can do it, anyone can do it. Saying that, I don't want to detract from Lee. Does an amazing job. The website, the technical side of things, the broadcast equipment, all down to him. Absolutely phenomenal. All those natty pictures you see, the new one, Pirates Live for me. Go on Facebook, go on Twitter. It's there. Use it. Absolutely amazing. And we've had some suggestions of badges and stuff to be made of it. It's quite something else.
Yeah.
Finish off the thanks at KittenCon66 at Jez McKinley, and then a big thanks on Twitter to both Todd Kurtz and Ludwig Lindgren. Neil Middleditch took a listen, said keep up the good work, and hopefully we'll be able to record an interview with Neil in the close season. Gary Havelock, Mr. Havelock.
Yes, yeah.
Again, another interview, but technicality reasons we need to sort out Skype, etc. on our side of things to be able to record that with Harry. And Pirate legend Davey Watt, always a gentleman on social media, and I've also now subsequently heard from Scott Nichols and Carl Howarth as well.
Oh, you have? Brilliant.
Yep, saying keep up the good work, guys. It sounds good, and if we can help, then we'll try. And then on Facebook, Wendy Wilkin, Clive Tyres, Matt Teague, and then Colin Marion Jones, who's Pitgate. Loved his message. Yo Ben, I've just listened to your first show. Hashtag bang tidy. Enjoyed it. If you need any help with it, give me a shout. What with me on the Pitgate, etc. Keep up the good work, and of course not forgetting Lee. Respect. And then on the forum, Nige, which is Nigel Leahy, Haystack, Posty Pirate, Southern Ace, Emma R, and Hagee UK. Thank you guys for all the feedback, all the suggestions and talking points. Very conscious we haven't been able to cover everything, but bear in mind we're trying to do every other, so we will use them going forward and pick and choose it so we can have some really good discussion and debate. What we really would like is, now the Skype voicemail set up, is for you guys to come in with your questions so that we can broadcast you, so it's not just us talking.
Yeah, and we can play your question sort of out on the air, and then literally give you the answers to that and our thoughts on the whole thing. So it's pretty easy to do. If you download Skype, go to skype.com, SKYPE.com, download it. It's free to download. Get yourself an account, totally free, and just add PirateCast as a contact, and we'll accept your friend request as such on there, and it's free to call, and you can just leave a voicemail. It is primarily used for online conversations back and forth, but we keep it switched off all the time so it diverts straight to voicemail. You can leave your messages, questions, anything like that, and we'll play them out on the show. Any questions about Skype, obviously just let us know on Twitter or Facebook.
There is an app available for your devices, and I believe it is available on Android as well. All work very, very well. Fingers crossed we can start hearing you and putting voices to the names, and by all means, if you want to talk to Lee and I at the stadium, feel free to come up and say hi, and any suggestions.
Wow, we're both coughing.
Me, sorry, you got me at it now. You at the start, me at the end. Come and have a chat with us. We're more than approachable, and any suggestions or assistance, I know people have said, do you want a third person? Thank you for that. Not at the moment. But it's not to say we might not do a spot with you and have somebody, some regular contributions from our sort of big followers. So, thank you so much, guys. We're very, very humble, but very, very honoured with all your guys' reaction to it. So thank you very much.
Exactly, and something that I'm going to make as a regular thing on the show in the future now. It's going to be Lee's rubbish pirate joke. Now, I came up with this. Myself and my lovely wife Kelly went up to Bath last week on a little bit of a road trip, and we stopped at Little Chef, and it was my little boy Riven's first Little Chef experience, his first services experience, which was amazing. So we went to a Little Chef, had a cooked breakfast, the whole works, and my cup came along, and in the back of my head I was ticking over and thinking about PirateCast and what we could do, stuff like that, and I got my drink, sat down there, and then I just started chuckling to myself. And Clay said, "What are you laughing at?" And I said, "I just thought of a really brilliant joke." So here it is. This is
lay it on us.
This is Lee's rubbish pirate joke of the week. Okay, what is a pirate's favourite type of coffee?
I don't know. What is a pirate's favourite type of coffee?
Larty.
Okay, guys, so just to summarise, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for the ideas and suggestions, and thank you very much for all the messages and congratulations and what a bang-up job we've done. Hopefully we haven't let you down in the second episode.
Sorry about the joke.
Never, ever, ever do that again.
Do it next week.
Ever. You could have also added in that you're going to Barth. Sorry. So yes,
Steal my segment.
Thank you, guys. I will dream up what I can do, something stupid and childish and immature.
Didn't Sammy want to say something out to the Pirates captain as well?
Yes, he did. Yeah. Hang on a second.
There we go. That is a Chris Holder #1 fan right there. There we go. So that goes out to Chris Holder. Just to know people are still thinking about you, even when you're not on a speedway bike. Big Chris Holder fan right there.
Big up to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get well, Skipper.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to see you back in the blue and white next season.
Definitely.
Well, at least up and riding is first priority, whether it's blue and white or not. Ideally,
blue and white
as a pirate.
Blue and white. Nobody else. He's already said nobody else.
Yeah, exactly. So hope he sticks to that. We're going to have lots more stuff coming up next week. Of course, as Ben said earlier, talking points. We're basically making a big sort of file of the talking points that you guys want us to talk about, because it's going to be a long close season. There's not a huge amount of speedway news to discuss over the close season, so that's when we're going to get into the topics of things about the track and past pirates, past seasons, merchandise, all that sort of stuff. So we're going to get into that in the next few weeks as well. In the meantime, hopefully we'll see you at Poole tomorrow night for the very last match of 2012.
Good luck.
Absolutely.
Good luck to the boys. Patched up Pirates.
We're going to do it, and don't forget to follow us at PirateCast, Twitter, Facebook on Twitter. Sorry, Facebook.com/PirateCast, and of course the email studio@thepiratecast.com, and the website thepiratecast.com. Check us out over there as well. And if you're just listening directly from the website, make sure you subscribe to the feed, which is all successfully up and running now. You can listen to us on your iPod, iPhone, iPad, anything like that, anything that can handle an MP3 essentially. So check that out, and you can download all of our previous shows. I know there's only 2 at the moment. But
well, 1 at the moment.
Well, 1
soon to be 2.
Show. Yeah, exactly. So that's it. It's been great once again talking to you. Tune in next time, and we are going to have a full review of the playoff final. We're going to we'll have a look back at the 2012 season. I completely forgot to say about the sort of fantasy team building. I think we're probably going to put that back a couple of weeks, because that'll be something good for the closed season. But we've got some really good topics to discuss.
Hopefully we'll have our first signing by then. I would imagine we would have a first signing by then, so that'll give an interesting point of view. I know that St Rob, for example, has got about 8 teams already conjured up via various assets and wants. So plenty of talking points.
Good time. So thank you once again for listening to PirateCast. We'll be back next time after the grand final, and we will see you then. Have a good one.
Stay classy, Speedway fans.